Get in Siraj Hussain, who's former agriculture secchi, and he joins us on the phone line from Delhi. Mr. Hussain, hi, thank you so much for joining us, sir. First of all, would want your view on the MSP hike. The way it has been introduced this time around has been different. We didn't see it on the PIB website. The state governments were sent letter directly on that. Does anything really come out, different to you onto all of this?
Hello. Actually, I'm not very sure why it was not put up on the website of the PIB, because in the Ministry of Agriculture, the Directorate of Economics and Statistics, which releases the minimum support prices, uploaded it on 13th itself. So the MSPs are available on that website and everybody has access to it, so I don't know. But having said it, let me add that there is substantial hike in MSP of pulses and soybean. So that is a good decision of the government. It will further spur the cultivation of these crops. The only difficulty I foresee is that if the monsoon is good, rains are scattered, well distributed, then the production of pulses will again cross 22 million tons. And the government will then have to gear up its procurement machinery so that the farmers can realize the MSP.
Mr. Hussain, also comment on the pulses part of it. I mean, this is the first time ever that the government has created a buffer stock into this one. That, of course, is a learning itself because of the kind of price volatility, the all-time highs that we saw in that space. But now, with the pulses prices down 40% and more as compared to last year, same time, what is your sense when you look at the government's stock and the kind of prices, the MSP hike, etc.? How do you relate it all?
My own impression is that the government should be removing the restrictions on. The central government has already allowed the state governments to lift the restrictions on stocking, etc. However, more needs to be done. The export needs to be allowed. And I would even recommend that the futures trading in pulses also needs to be allowed. It has remained banned for. And many people also say that the export duty should be increased, but the government in its wisdom has kept the duties low so that the domestic prices of pulses remain under control. But there may be a case, if the monsoon is very scattered, there may be a case for increasing the duty a little bit for some time.
Mr. Hussain, also comment on the whole demonetization and the GST part of it, because most of the farmer organizations are still slightly skeptical when it comes to farm loan waivers as we see them now, because the prices have been under pressure. Even with the kind of hike in MSP that we have seen, it really hasn't helped the prices so much.
I don't think GST is going to have any serious impact on agriculture, because in any case, the commodities which are sold loose will not attract any GST, and the commodities which are sold in packaged form will attract a low GST of 5%. So in my view, it is a good decision. Of course, the GST on certain food processed items was very high, up to 28%. We wrote about that in Indian Express and Financial Express. And the government has now reduced those rates to 18% and 12%. So on the whole, I think GST will not have much impact, except on fertilizer. We have written about that. So 12% GST on fertilizer. In many states, there is no VAT on fertilizer. Punjab, Haryana, major consuming states have no VAT. So who is going to absorb the VAT on fertilizer is still not clear. Whether the prices will go up by 12%, or the government will increase the subsidy on fertilizer, we don't know.
Mr. Hussain, what is your sense going forward now when it comes to the agriculture as a space? Because a lot of things seem to be being done right now for the farmers, for the sector as well, doubling the farmer income also. Do you think we are in the right direction, right trajectory?
Doubling of farm income actually has unfortunately gone in for a trajectory because of a variety of reasons, especially the depressed prices and this, announcement during the UP elections that the loans will be waived. And in the process, what has happened is that the farmers of even irrigated land, having assured MSP, assured prices like cane, sugar cane, etc., their loans are also going to be written off. So this whole thing has turned out to be a little awkward, where the more deserving, the small and marginal farmers who do not have very good access to institutional credit, they have been left out high and dry. And of course, there are farmers in rain-fed areas, who are not benefited by MSP. They do deserve waiver of loans. But doing it across the board for everyone, state after state, of course, I must add that the farmers are very closely watching how the government will treat the corporate NPAs. Even I am watching that, whether the government will be even-handed with them also. So this whole thing has become very complex now, and I hope there will be a way out. In my view, the discussion from the government side, Niti Aayog, etc., should be going forward. What policies do we need in agriculture which will obviate the need for any writing off of loans?
Your point is well taken, Mr. Hussain. Thank you so much for taking time out and speaking to us today. That, of course, is the view coming in from Mr. Siraj Hussain.